Welcome back to Music Makers Live here on Dash Radio. My name is Sean. I'm sitting with Sasha, Carrion. Thank you so much for being here today. You are LA's leading hypnotherapist and life coach, so I gotta pick your brain about a million things.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on. Yeah, I've been able to help a lot of musicians, a lot of artists with hypnotherapy.
Yeah, that's how we met. I was doing research trying to find life coaches and hypnotherapists, and you were the first name that came up, and your recommendations were through the roof, and I've actually been hypnotized by you now.
That's right.
So I know firsthand how crazy it is, and even I actually have proof. We talked about, in my hypnosis, we talked about a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And the specific Ferrari was the Ferrari F40. And within 1 week after that, I saw it 4 times. I had only seen the car twice in my entire life, okay?
Wow.
And the 2 times I had seen the car, they were the exact same car. It was the same guy that owns it in Beverly Hills. He let me sit in it. It's the only Ferrari I've ever sat in. And when you, in the hypnosis, when we talked about the Ferrari, that's the Ferrari I thought of. And I saw it like 4 days in a row. And that guy he only drives that car like 4 days a year. It's worth like $2 million.
Oh my gosh.
So I literally saw him all those 4 days. He took that car out, which I consider to be my car because he let me sit in it. It's the only Ferrari I've ever sat in. It's my dream Ferrari, poster on the wall. And so I just say that to say, since that day with the hypnosis, and we also mentioned a Porsche in my hypnosis. And I've also seen my dream Porsche at least 10 times. It's the Dylan McKay Porsche from Beverly Hills 90210. Did you ever watch 90210?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so the car that Dylan drove is my all-time, I moved to LA, I want to make it, and I gotta get Dylan's Porsche, you know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah. So, and I've seen a whole bunch of that exact one, in black, the one I want,
cool.
356 Speedster, all since that day, plus a million other things that have started to come up since that. I'm not going to tell everyone what the exact hypnosis subject was about. I mean, you can kind of tell it was about abundance. We're talking about Carrion, Porsches, and Ferraris. But I'm just saying that to say firsthand, within a few days after being hypnotized, I literally saw my dream car that I sat in years ago, 4 days in a row, boom, boom, boom. And I have it all on video.
That's
Every
awesome.
single time I was able to pull over and get a full video of it and just have my mind melted.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the process of hypnosis for anyone that might not be familiar with it, because I feel like a lot of people think of a cruise ship, silly late night show, and they're waving a clock in front of your face and you're barking like a dog or something like that. So I think what most people don't realize is that you could use it to, of course, achieve your goals and to help you. A lot of people use it to quit smoking and stuff like that. So can you help us separate that maybe little goofy side of hypnosis that maybe some people have a stigma with because of, I don't know, cartoons when we were a kid, or again, cruise ships. I remember at least 5 hypnosis acts I went to on cruise ships or in Vegas, So what's different between what you do in helping people achieve their goals and success and the goofy stuff on the cruise ship?
Yeah, honestly, Sean, I had those same myths about hypnosis.
I'm sure. How could you not? Yeah.
Because for me, hypnosis and hypnotherapy were the same thing, and it turns out they're not. Hypnosis is the term for hypnosis in general, and hypnotherapy is the use of hypnosis as a therapeutic tool.
Okay.
So that is the difference
Interesting.
between both. Yeah.
Is the process of becoming hypnotized the same?
No, because with hypnotherapy, it's much more soothing, it's much more relaxing,
Right.
and it's very much focused on helping a person reach their goals. With hypnosis, it could be, Vegas shows.
I was in one of those. It was crazy, actually. And I felt like I knew everything that was going on, but I also felt like I couldn't fully control it.
Yeah.
It felt like a trance or a very deep sleep. And I did feel like I could snap out of it at any moment if I felt like it. But I choose to let it keep happening.
Yeah.
It was, the Vegas one was crazy. They made people do the weirdest. It was a dirty late show. It was so crazy. But, so interesting. Do people come in to see you with a specific intention? I came to see you and I said, I want to manifest this specific goal. Do people come into you like that? Or do you get clients that are just I heard this is interesting and I just want to do it?
No, when people come in, it's because they're looking to make something happen in their lives.
Got it.
That's actually what I love about this work. The people that come in, they want to eliminate trauma. They want to get past their limiting beliefs. They want to have a high self-confidence. They want to get past fears and phobias.
Habits.
They want to, yes, totally. Smoking cessation is a very common one. They want to bring down their anxiety levels. You know,
I'm sure there's some food stuff in there too, weight loss stuff. I can imagine.
Food issues, weight issues. There's the whole gamut. Honestly, I've helped people with certain things that even I didn't know if I could help them with, and it's been amazing. I mean,
do you think the smoking works?
Oh yeah, that is one of the areas where hypnotherapy is actually really solid.
Interesting, because I smoked. Unfortunately, I smoked cigarettes for a few years, and I quit a long time ago. And I was debating what to do: hypnosis, or I ended up doing the Alan Carr method. It was like a book, and I ended up watching a movie based on it. It was really good. I've never been able to find that documentary again. I've tried to send it to people, but I quit that day actually, and I was mind blown. Because it planted these seeds in your head, so I imagine the hypnosis of it would be very similar. Because when I woke up the next day and didn't go for the cigarette, I remember the whole day being like, I can't believe I'm not smoking. I can't believe I'm not, like the whole day thinking it, like I can't believe I'm not smoking.
Everything is mindset. You know, the other day I helped somebody who had been smoking 2 packs of cigarettes.
That's crazy. That's a lot.
Completely quit.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and when it
quit cold turkey that day.
He did. I honestly thought
that's a lot. That's a lot of nicotine.
Yeah, my program normally consists of 2 sessions and then 2 mini sessions that we do over the phone. So it takes a certain amount of days.
Yeah,
this guy, I don't know how he did it. He nailed it after that first session.
He must have really wanted to.
Yes, exactly.
I think the reason I didn't go to a hypnosis or a hypnotherapist at the time for the smoking was there was this joke in Entourage of one of the assistants start with smoking a cigarette, and somebody was like, I thought you quit. And he was like, I went to a hypnotist, it cost $500. And then and it was like, I quit. And then I saw a pair of shoes I could have bought $500. And I started smoking again.
Oh my God.
So for that one, for whatever reason, that joke was kind of stuck in my head. And I just found the Alan Carr thing, and I probably didn't have $500 to spend on a hypnosis at the time. But I remember I had a friend that did the laser and the ear once, and he said that worked for a bit. And then somebody else that did hypnosis when I was younger and said it worked. But that's probably what started to get me intrigued by it. Like more than just the Vegas stuff was when my friend did it for smoking, which is why I'm so intrigued about it, because it's like, it's just for me, it's like a super deep meditation with positive suggestions in it. So it's like, bro, get really relaxed and I'll tell you to quit smoking. So when they actually do it, it's like, wow, really? You actually, so that means, why don't you just, I don't know, start lifting heavier or something. I don't know. I feel like you could then suggest anything to yourself.
The thing about hypnotherapy is that it is super effective.
I believe it.
It is, in my view, it is much more effective than other traditional modes of therapy. It's able to help people to get faster results. Doesn't mean that you still don't have to invest a certain amount of time and effort into it.
But willpower.
It does, because willpower is not enough. But the goal with hypnotherapy is to access that part of our minds where all of our hard drive resides, where our programs reside. And when you're able to access that part of the mind, you're able to make some amazing changes happen.
That's so wild.
Yeah,
well, what's a normal thing besides like smoking or, I don't know. Well, what's the most common, like an anxiety?
Anxiety is always the top request. Now, since COVID, addiction.
Addiction to what?
Alcohol, meth,
Jesus, yeah.
ketamine.
I mean, people got a little extreme on that one.
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't mean to laugh, but that's a little, to go from nothing to meth, that seems pretty extreme. Well, those people must have been far along in some type of addictive journey to begin with. I understand people drinking a little more maybe during the pandemic or whatever, or
smoking as well.
Smoking went up.
More people started to smoke.
Smoking, I mean, yeah.
Or they upped their smoking.
Right, they upped it. I mean, I to a point, I understand some of it. I get it. But yeah, though, that makes sense. that makes sense. Wow, addiction. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is all addiction the same? Like, does it matter if you're addicted to Twinkies or if you're addicted to a drug?
Different.
It's different?
It's different because I'll give you an example. When it comes to food addiction,
Right.
that's a different animal.
What's different? Just so I know.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. A cigarette you could put down, and there's a high chance that that person will never smoke again. But when it comes to food, it's a different animal because food is something you have to eat every single day. So that's a few opportunities in the day where you can get it right or you could get it wrong.
Right.
And there are a lot of emotions, there are a lot of connections with food.
Interesting.
That have nothing to do with food, such as a reward, a treat.
A lot of people do that. Oh, I did 10 minutes on the stair climber. I'm going to have my smoothie or whatever.
You know, if somebody gets upset at work,
right,
they start wanting to eat as soon as they get at home, something happens. And so that's a little more complex.
It's a crutch. That's a crutch. I used to be like that, probably with cigarettes or something. You know, you get stressed out or some email would come through, all of a sudden you're like smoking a cigarette. Or in the opposite, like something exciting would happen. You'd light up a cigarette. You know, it was just like any swing of emotion, good or bad, you would fall on that crutch. Very interesting. So anxiety, addiction, that's probably the most common thing that people
definitely
come in for. I believe it. Do a lot of people come in for money stuff?
Money stuff in the sense that they want to manifest.
Yeah, manifest more money.
Yes, for sure. People want to manifest great opportunities. They want to manifest. That's the thing about LA is that, you know, the majority of people that are here, they're hustling.
Yeah, no.
They're looking to make something happen.
I know. That's the
funny
misconception. A lot of people think like, oh, beach life, or like everyone's just at a coffee shop all day, and it's like, no, you got to work really hard to be sitting at the coffee shop doing nothing.
Totally, you know.
Oh my God,
LA, if you're not born here, you know, you're somebody who has come in, and you've come in because you've got a dream. You're working on something. I've
been here over a decade, and I still feel like I don't have really good friends. You know what I mean? I still feel like I'm finding my circle and it's still all coming together, you know, which is fine. Go to a huge city and I'm not saying I haven't had really good friends along the way, but a lot of people come, they go, especially in a city like LA. Like I've had good friends that have moved away a million years ago or, you know, came to work on something and then disappeared or, you know, that stuff definitely happens. Interesting. What do you find? So back to the money thing for a second. Do you find the people that want to make more money, do you find that they have a common issue with them? Like, are they all in their head in their own way? The X amount of people that have all come to you saying, I want to make more money. It's clearly because they're not making enough money. So have you noticed something about all of those people? Yeah.
Yeah. Fear.
Okay, yeah.
Doubt.
Okay.
A lot of times a lack of action.
Okay, yeah, high level procrastination is a big thing.
A lot of times taking some form of action but not following through to completion.
Okay, yeah.
So there's different forms of self-sabotage that I need to help people with.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, like the internal dialogue. I think you could have all the right intentions. You could be working hard, you know, you could be making your videos, doing whatever, writing your scripts, whatever. But if you're in your head going, oh, I suck, or nobody reads my stuff, or I was even joking for years because I have tons of books on Amazon and be like, oh, nobody reads them but my mother. And literally nobody was reading them but my mother. It was like self-manifesting, you know? So I feel like you got to cut a lot of that out in your head. I feel like a lot of that dialogue, even if you're trying to be funny or whatever, like, stop saying that, you know? Stop.
Totally.
Like, in my head now, I'm like, actually, I haven't been saying I have a best-selling book, but I should start saying I have a best-selling book.
Yeah, and even if something hasn't happened, that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen.
No, of course,
and some things happen in a kind of divine timing.
You know what's so crazy is that, so the first thing I ever wanted to be in my life was a professional athlete. Like, because I was pretty big for my age young. Like, I was actually this size that I am right now at 11 years old. Size 12 shoe. Like, so I was like huge at 11. You know, so on my football team, basketball team, everything. Like, all the doctors are like, oh, you're going to be like 6'5". Never grew 1 inch past what I am right now. Needless to say, I was this size at 11 and I thought I was going to be a professional athlete. I was really good at track, all the sports I played. I was very dominant in at that age up until probably 16. I was very heavy into sports. Like my entire room was covered in sports. And last month was not the first month, but like the fourth month. But last month felt like the first month where I actually made a real amount of money off YouTube from skateboarding. And I literally, like, I was in the gym working out and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta stay fit for skateboarding. Like, I gotta make videos. I'm like, am I a professional athlete now? I'm like, what's a professional? A professional is someone that gets paid to do something that they do. I'm like, I get paid to skateboard. I'm like, oh my God. And I just started like 3 years ago. It's a whole like weird niche adult skateboarding thing that's popped up for me. But I literally, to your point, that things could happen later. Literally when this like popped into my mind, like, cause I was talking to my friend, he's like, what are you up to? And I'm like, actually, I think I'm a professional athlete. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. I made a lot of money skateboarding last month. He's like, what? And I'm like, so I feel like those things definitely can pop up later. It's time appropriate or time, time and place, like people say. So I definitely believe that. Do you see a difference between your hypnosis therapy, your hypnotherapy clients and your life coaching clients?
I tend to do both at the same time, combined.
Got it. Is because your hypnosis was super positive. Like that was what I loved about it the most, is that it felt like a super deep meditation that was just for me, because you say my name in it a bunch of times. So, and I listen to it every single night.
Because my goal is to infuse you with as much good stuff as possible and to really uplift you and give you the mindset you need so that you can not only reach your goals, but you can also manifest the things that you want.
Totally. I guess, actually, I think the question I was trying to ask you before is like, do people come to you for just like touch-ups, like vibrational or energetic, like touch-ups?
So for almost every single topic, it takes a certain number of sessions.
Got it.
So we did the first session. We definitely need to follow that up. In fact, from this moment on, whenever you get an idea for a suggestion that is going to tell your mind how you want to think, feel, and behave, jot it down.
Interesting.
And then we'll do the next one. So when it comes to the mind, it takes conditioning, plain and simple. The College of London did a study, and they found that instead of it being 20-something days for the mind to learn a new pattern, it really takes something like 66. That's a lot more.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that with hypnotherapy, it's much more faster, it's much more efficient, but it still takes that reinforcement. That's why you're listening to your audio at night before you go to bed.
Yeah, 100%.
Because whatever you last input into your subconscious mind is the first thing that your mind is going to be processing.
Now, do you think, like, realistically, like, not Bill Gates, because he was born into a certain situation, but do you think highly successful people are actually doing stuff like this at night? Like, are they listening to affirmations, or are they just know? They're at a good level with themselves that they inherently like, no, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. Because I feel like I see successful people, I'm like, no way that guy meditates. No way.
Let me tell you that the most successful people all have coaches.
Right, that I believe,
coaches, and they all have different kinds of meditative practices, whether it's just straight up meditation or they're hypnotizing themselves, tapping, they're doing something.
I did hear one spiritual teacher once, somebody was going off, like, I know for a fact 50 Cent doesn't meditate, blah, blah, blah. And the spiritual teacher was like, he meditates every time he raps. Every time he makes music, he's in the zone. He's aligned with himself. He's present in that moment. That's his version of meditation. He goes into that zone, he can manifest. He doesn't need to sit in an empty room and sit in silence like you do. You might need to do that because you need to quiet your mind still. He can get into a zone. So I do agree that a
zone is a meditative state.
Right, a zone is a meditative state.
Every time you experience that flow,
right, the flow states.
You're in state.
Right. Now, can people come to you to tap into that I think that's kind of why I came to you. I'm like, I want to tap into more of like a receiving mode.
Yeah, totally. And I'll share with you something that a client told me. I can't say who she's referring to, but I thought it was very interesting that she shared with me that she met a particular artist, and that artist confessed to her that he writes his music in the shower.
Oh wow, okay.
Because it's quiet.
Yeah.
There's that white noise of the
A lot of people get ideas in the shower.
Yes.
I get that.
And so it's when you're able to quiet the mind a lot of times and get yourself into that state when you're able to really access that power.
That's what I think it is. You're tapping into it. Because I saw somewhere that like Lady Gaga wrote Born This Way in 10 minutes. And it was a spiritual lesson that they were talking about in the sense of like, do you think the amount of money she earned off that 10 minutes is equivalent to the amount of work? Like, of course not. But she tapped into a pure alignment flow state, and that song flowed through her, and it was a hit. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't about how hard she worked or how many hours or this. She got into a certain state, and because of the past work she had already done, she was able to release it to people that could actually hear it. But it still flowed through her in 10 minutes, and she made millions and millions of dollars off of it. You know what I mean? So like, a lot of people have this like, oh, you got to work really hard. It's like, no, you got to be in alignment.
Exactly. We all need to align with our purpose, with what we're meant to do. And if music is your purpose, that's exactly what you have to do. And you have to, get into it 100%, not half-ass it. You have to be 100% and completely embrace who you are and embrace your gifts.
100%. Well, speaking of music, before we talk about music, tell everybody where they can find you, your website, everything, because again, you're one of LA's, if not LA's, biggest and most successful life coach and hypnotherapist. So please tell everyone where they can find you.
So you can go to sashacarrion.com. And so that's SASHA Carrion, CARRION.com.
Beautiful.
And you can check out all my information there, and you can even make your appointment there, your first appointment.
I'll leave it all down below if you're watching on YouTube in the future. I'll also leave your YouTubes because you have an English and Spanish YouTube where you talk about all types of wonderful things, hypnotherapy things as well. So I'll leave those links down for you guys below as well. But let's talk about music. Do you remember the first album you ever got? Do you remember the format it was in? Was it a tape, a CD, a record?
So my first album was a cassette, and it was the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
I love the Pet Shop Boys. What was the big song on the album that you had? Do you remember?
Oh, I can't remember at all.
So good. I love the Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
Very nice. Do you remember the first concert you ever went to?
Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode?
Down in Irvine, yeah.
That's cool.
Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode is one of those bands where when I see their music videos, the lead singer looks so young to me.
Oh, I know. He looks like a baby.
He looks like a kid, but for some reason, when I saw them as a kid, he seemed like an adult or something. I don't know.
Totally.
And like, there's some bands.
Perspective.
It is. And there's some 80s bands that they looked older. Like, if you see like a Chicago or Boston, with the long hair, the mustaches, like, those guys were 24 also, but they looked 40.
Totally.
When I see Depeche Mode videos, I'm like, he has like these like rosy cheeks and everything. I'm like, this kid.
A very plump face.
Yeah, plump face. I'm like, this kid looks like Shia LaBeouf, like 16 years old or something. It's so crazy to see some of those videos. Depeche Mode. Do you remember, did anyone fun open for Depeche Mode?
Who opened? I can't even remember.
It's a long shot, but every now and again, sometimes a big band that has yet to blow up will open, so that's always fun. Do you remember having posters on your wall when you were younger? Any musical artists?
So they weren't allowed.
No posters allowed?
No posters allowed. So
who was your favorite when you were growing up?
Oh my gosh. So I always loved Depeche Mode, The Cure, The Ramones.
Oh, so you were into more of the rock kind of 80s grunge-ish?
Yes.
Interesting.
Most definitely.
Were you into like Motley Crue and all that?
Yes, I also like
Poison, Motley. Who else would I really want to be friends with Tommy Lee. Do you know Tommy Lee? I want to be friends with him. That's so funny. There's a band called
Boingo too.
Oh yeah. I just saw at the Whiskey or somewhere in one of those spots on Sunset, a band called Yachtly Crew is playing. I think they're like an 80s joke. Like Steel Panther. Have you ever seen them?
No.
Oh my god, they're like a joke 80s glam band, but they sing like everything. Like they'll sing the new songs, they'll sing like I Want It That Way, but like all in like an 80s glam band hair like motif. And I saw them at a friend's birthday party like a long time ago. This girl was super rich. I don't know.
That's funny.
I had all these artists, but that one was crazy.
The hilarious thing is that my 5-year-old son loves so many 80s
Oh, really?
songs. So he likes Toto's Africa.
Oh, I love Africa. Such a good one.
He loves that song.
That's a good one. You should tell him to.
Yeah.
I'll give you a remix that he should listen to later. That's a good Africa remix. That's cool. Yeah. The thing that's cool with music now and some of the social media platforms is I was talking to CJ Hand. He's a radio host. He breaks down songs and stuff. Super amazing. But he was saying that like the kids now, they're on Spotify or TikTok and like they'll get a song from the 80s and like it's just a song on Spotify. Like they're not digging through like an old record crate and pulling it out and being like, Def Leppard, what is this? And like dusting it off. They don't know if it came out last week or not until they Google it. All they see is Def Leppard, some song, and they click on it. Photograph. Yeah, I kind of like this song. What? So he's like, it's weird how the discovery has kind of popped back up, especially on TikTok. There'll be rap songs that were popular 20 years ago that the kids hear and they put into TikTok, and like that song all of a sudden sells like another 100,000 copies, and it's like, whoa, what just happened for that artist? They're like, what just happened?
You know what I was just thinking about today?
Yeah.
I was listening to K-Earth, right?
I love
And
K-Earth.
now K-Earth, back in the day, used to play like 50s and 60s, like it was the oldie radio station in LA.
100%.
But now what are they playing? They're 80s.
That's true. Oh my God. I didn't even think about that.
I'm like, oh my God.
I just saw this meme
That's
where
an
it
oldie.
was, I just saw this meme where it was like, when you're young, you hear your song on the radio. You get a little older, you hear your song in the club. And then when you get a lot older, you hear your song in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and now I do notice that though. Like I'll be in Trader Joe's, I'll be like, oh, good song. And then I saw that meme and I'm like, oh no, I'm that guy. I just heard this song in Trader Joe's and I'm like, oh, that good song.
You know what
from
I
1992.
love is when I hear a client's song playing on
Oh yeah, totally.
like I'll be inside a store and I'm like, oh, there he is, yay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Or when I roll into Vegas and I see a client up on a billboard.
That's cool.
I love, like, oh.
Yeah, seeing people you know that have been working that start to make their way is definitely very nice to see. So I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. Before I let you go, what is your current playlist right now? What are some of the songs? Are they old songs, new songs? What kind of music are you listening to these days?
Oh my gosh. So I listen to a variety of stuff. I still love 80s.
Yeah.
I still love 80s. I now have this appreciation for classical music, something that I never had before. But, you know, I'm Latina. So,
anything in particular? Vivaldi or something?
you know.
Four Seasons. I like classical too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very relaxing. Yeah.
Very
relaxing.
all kinds of stuff. Mozart, not so much Beethoven because it just feels a little too kind of like
heavy
dark.
or something. Yeah, I get it. I understand.
And so I'll do classical music. I'm Latina, so I like cumbia. I like salsa as well.
Yeah.
And I like also just even 80s in Spanish.
80s Spanish music?
Yeah, in Spanish.
What's 80s Spanish? What's a huge hit Spanish 80s song that's not like Menudo or something? Because I know Menudo.
Oh, yeah.
Or that's not like Julio Iglesias. What's like a big 80s Spanish song?
So when it comes to, let me see. What is one? I like the stuff Mecano made.
Okay, I don't know any of it. This is all for me to Google later.
They're actually from Spain, and they just had so many hits. I like Caifanes, which is from, they were from Mexico.
I love it. So many bands with so many hits that I don't know. That blows my mind. I love that.
Yeah, and from Argentina, there's Los Fabulosos Cadillacs.
All right, I'm gonna have to get into this. As far as I go, is like Hawaiian hip hop, like J Boog, and like
really?
There's some random Hawaiian hip hop guys that I really love. Spawn Breezy, they have some funny names, but yeah, that's as far as I've gotten. I'm gonna have to go down more south instead of west.
Yeah, this is the thing about music is that music crosses all barriers.
100%.
All lines.
Well,
music
dancing is dancing.
Yes.
The act of dancing is the same, basically. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what language, what tempo, really. If you're dancing, you're dancing.
Music unifies us.
Exactly. Where are you listening to your music? Do you listen? Well, you said a little bit on the radio, but you have like playlists, YouTube, Spotify. Pandora.
I use Pandora a lot.
Huh. All right, that's interesting. I don't know if anyone said Pandora yet. I've never used Pandora. It's an app.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I know it's been around forever, but I've never used it.
And I use it too because they have a lot of kids stations. Because I have a 5-year-old in English and in Spanish as well.
That makes sense. Interesting. Pandora. Do they have a good like suggestions function on there? Do you use it at all?
No, not really. If there is,
Yeah, check it out. A lot of people say when they use Spotify that once it gets to know you, the Genius function is actually like really good. It starts to give you like really obscure songs that you would actually like. That's the only reason I'm debating getting back on Spotify, because YouTube is not so amazing with suggesting random songs to you. It's okay, but it suggests the pretty basic 100
That's
to you.
awesome, because if you go to Mexico, let's say Mexico City, you're gonna hear all kinds of songs, like old songs, that you wouldn't hear here.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
It's like, but over there, they listen to all kinds of stuff that we never get to hear.
Well, thank you so much again for taking the time.
Absolutely
Thank you for
welcome.
redoing this. We did this once before, but we had a technical glitch. So thank you so much for coming
pleasure.
back and doing it again. I'll leave all of her info down below. I highly recommend going to get a hypnosis session. Still to this day, my world is like morphing and changing in front of me. But thank you again. And when we move into our new studio, you're going to have to come be a guest in the new spots.
It would be my pleasure.
Amazing. Well, thanks again and have a beautiful day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.